Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Breaking the Law with Eddie Law. This is the newest sports show on the internet today, I think. I don't know, it's the internet. I'm sure there's like 5 or 6 sports shows that start every single day. So probably not the newest one, but one of them. Available right now only on Spreaker app and Spreaker.com. My name is Eddie Law. If this is your first time checking out the show, thanks for joining. Welcome. Make yourself comfortable. Grab a beer, a bag of chips, whatever you prefer. And for those who have been listening for a while, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate it. Plenty to talk about tonight. Seems like everything is happening today. And, some crazy stuff, some insane stuff, some just speechless things. As always, I encourage you to send in all your comments and questions and anything else, really. Funny puns, insults that are funny anyway. Send them over to at elaw31. That's ELAW31 on Twitter. On the chat spot on Spreaker app and Spreaker.com. They could have found a better name for this website, for real. And if you feel brave enough to call in, 602-903-3906 to call in on the air. Talk about whatever you'd like. Sports world, non-sports world. Lots of crazy stuff going on today. Powerball's going down. I'm not exactly sure what time they do it, but at some point it's going down. Andrew already on the chat saying beer and chips. Look, man, I don't know what do they eat in the UK with beer? Beer and what? In the US, it's beer and anything. Okay, this is in college, but in college I had beer and cake quite a few times, and it was usually after a night of just drunken idiocy, and we were starving I was starving when I woke up, and the only thing that was around was beer, leftover warm piss beer, and cake, and I was hungry enough to eat it. But that's neither here nor there right now anyway. All right. So, of course, a lot of things going on in the NFL. Beer and curry. I'm going to have to look that one up, man. I've never even heard of that. All right, so a lot of things going on, of course, in the NFL today. The NFL, late last night, they approved. The NFL has approved the move for the St. Louis Rams, no longer the St. Louis Rams, the NFL Rams, to return to Los Angeles. So from the details that have come out of this has been mostly that Jerry Jones, everyone knows him, owner of the Cowboys, owner of way too many plastic surgeries, facelifts, whatnot. Seems like he's the one that was able to get the deal done. If you know Jerry Jones, first of all, have you ever heard him talk? The guy is a talker. The guy is a businessman. He can make deals and make money by talking. That's what he does. He's really good at it. A lot of people aren't. He is. He's very good. He's a deals guy. He really is. Anyway, so the owners had actually 2 votes. The first one was a public vote. Now I believe the number they need is I think 80%. So I think I want to say 24 to the 32 teams or team owners have to approve. Otherwise, nothing would happen. So they did the very first vote, and it was a public vote, right in front of Mark Davis, owner of the Raiders, and of course the other owners as well of the Chargers and Kroenke of the Rams. And there was really nothing that got done. But once Jerry Jones went around talking to everybody, making deals and all that, and started to suggest they do a private vote. So they did a private vote where the names of those who voted were kept a secret, and the vote was 30-2 in favor of Rams Chargers going to Los Angeles rather than the Raiders Chargers. That was earlier suggested. So, loyalties, friendships, and everything was thrown out of the window for that special vote, or that private vote, secret vote, if you will. And the truth was brought out. And there's a lot of reasons for them to do that, by the way. Nick hitting me up here on the chat on Spreaker app or Spreaker.com, whichever one you're on, buddy. He says, the San Antonio Raiders, will it happen this year? No, it will not. The Raiders will find a way to stay where they're at, somewhere, or get a stadium somewhere in Northern California. They're going to get some help from the owners, by the way. They're not going to be left out of this completely. So, and by the way, the Chargers have an option to join the Rams. They don't have to join the Rams, but they have an option to join the Rams in LA. And they announced that they're going to consider all of their options before deciding. So it looks like next season, the Rams will be in Los Angeles. More than likely, it looks like they're going to be at the Coliseum where USC plays. And the new stadium that they built is going to be built in 2019. Jesse on the chat saying, thank God F the Raiders. I have nothing against the Raiders. Growing up, all my friends had Raider gear. So, that's one thing about the Raiders. The Raiders were one of those teams that surpassed sport. They went straight into culture because of hip-hop and all that. Anyway, so St. Louis loses its second NFL team. They lost the Cardinals to Arizona in 1988, and now they lose the Rams, who they had gotten from LA in 94. The Rams left LA because they couldn't figure a deal to build a new stadium in 1994 to go to St. Louis, and this now they go back to LA. And the only ones that lose here are the St. Louis fans. There's a lot of diehard fans in St. Louis, a lot of diehard Rams fans, and now they're gonna have to figure something out. Of course, now the Indianapolis Colts, they took no time to suggest that Rams become Colts fans because they're that close. Nick says, will Philly get a Super Bowl ever? You mean a Super Bowl in Philadelphia? Like, that's where the game is? Or will Philly ever win a Super Bowl? I wonder what the question is. Mike Jarve saying, no Patriots. No Patriot. Damn, I want to go to the Jones after party. Oh, yeah, Chandler Jones. We'll talk about that in a second, my friend. Of course we're going to get to that. So anyway, so the deal made sense to the owners, of course, because the Rams owner is Steve Kroenke, who also owns the Denver Nuggets. He's going to actually pay for the stadium completely by himself. He's not going to, they're not going to ask the city for a dime. The owners don't have to help him with the money to build. And the owners win. Think about it here. The owners, look, they're going to be able to use that facility for anything. You could put the Super Bowl in Los Angeles. Once that stadium is built. You could put the NFL Combine in Los Angeles. You could put the draft in Los Angeles. You could do all these things over there at zero cost to the owners because they don't have to build anything. It's already built. It was a win-win for everybody except for St. Louis fans. So now St. Louis is left with two sports franchises. They have I believe the St. Louis Blues, hockey, of course, and Major League Baseball St. Louis Cardinals, who have actually won titles. The Rams have one Super Bowl under the belt with Kurt Warner leading them over there in St. Louis. Now you remember when the Seattle SuperSonics were bought out by an Oklahoma City ownership group? They claimed they wanted to stay in Seattle but moved to Oklahoma City the first chance they had, that was the play the entire time. Oklahoma City became an option for an NBA team after Hurricane Katrina displaced the Hornets, the then New Orleans Hornets, to Oklahoma City while the city recovered from all the devastation. So Jesse's happy. He gets his team. He's a Rams fan. Going over to LA where he's at. Jesse's saying it's not the team, it's the fans that suck. Look, I don't know Rams fans that much. We actually dislike Rams because they're in the same division as us. And I'm talking about the Cardinals, so we'll dislike you for a long time. So Andy suggested beer and curry and sent me the Wikipedia page. It says curry is a dish originating in the cuisine of the Indian subcontinent. The common feature is the incorporation of complex combination of spices or herbs, usually fresh or dried hot chilies. Traditionally, the use of the term curry is limited to dishes prepared in a sauce. Curry dishes prepared in the southern states of India may be spiced with leaves from the curry plant. Okay, now I know what you're talking about. I've had curry, not a fan. But now I know what you're talking about, so it's all good. So, Nick saying, will Philly ever win a Super Bowl? Man, here's the thing. Roster moves are big, right? When you don't have a quarterback, a franchise quarterback, it puts you back years. Think of it this way. The Chicago Bears, with the defense that they had Rex Grossman take them to the Super Bowl, weren't able to win it. Herbs. Again, English second language, Andy. Come on. So Philly would have to make a lot of changes, in my opinion, to win a Super Bowl. But they kind of have to hit the reset button. They don't even have a head coach right now. They have to figure out who's going to be the head coach. They have to figure out who they're going to get to lead that team. For sure, it's not going to be. I can see his face. I can't remember his shoulder injury, man. Always injured, never healthy. Number 7, Bradford. Thank you. It's not going to be Bradford. Okay. And that defense has to improve a little bit. Remember a couple years ago, I don't know if it was Michael Vick or Vince Young that was on Philadelphia's team, said they were like the Miami Heat of the NFL. They were an all-star team, or the dream team. He called them the dream team. And they were awful that season. Awful. Asamoah was on that team as a cornerback. They had LaShawn McCoy still. Deshaun Jackson was still on that team. Chip Kelly showed up, blew it up. And Chip Kelly, instead of leaving things better than how he found them, leaves them much worse than how he found them. That team is way awful now. So, and just to clear it up, not Rams fans are terrible. Raiders fans are terrible. I'll say this. They're not the nicest people, but they're loyal to the end. I'll tell you that much. All right, so I don't know if everyone heard about this today. Lawrence Phillips, ex-Nebraska star running back, was found dead in his prison cell, I think today, dead at the age of 40. Now, he's over at the Kern Valley State Prison, and they're investigating his death as a likely suicide, a suspected suicide, what they're saying. They found him in his cell unresponsive, is what they're saying. Took him to the hospital, pronounced him dead 90 minutes later. Now, here's the kicker. He was actually awaiting trial for the alleged murder of his former cellmate. He could have faced the death penalty if he was convicted. The prosecutor actually moved for the death penalty in that case. And that guy's been in prison, and I'm talking about Phillips. He's been in prison since 2008. He was serving 31 years for a variety of charges. I mean, I don't know if there's a charge for it. He probably had it. I mean, he had inflicting bodily harm, domestic violence, corporal injury to his spouse. I don't even know what that means, and false imprisonment among a million other things. So, if you guys remember, or if anyone remembers, really, Phillips, it's the star running back in Nebraska. I mean, as a freshman, he came off the bench and in big games against UCLA and Florida State, lit them up, took them to a win. Sophomore year, he led the Huskers to a national title, undefeated season. He actually took them to 2 national titles, if I'm not mistaken. But his trouble started in 94, when he was charged with the vandalism and assault incident. And then in 95, he was arrested for assaulting his ex-girlfriend, who, turns out she was a Nebraska basketball player. So even with all the character issues and all the problems that he was having, St. Louis still drafted him number 6 overall in 96. And but the problem is he wasn't a consistent player in the NFL. He wasn't consistent at all. In the NFL, you want to stay there for a long time. Consistency and effectiveness, you got to be able to play. And you got to be able to play every week. And he couldn't. He ended up getting cut by the Rams for inconsistent play and character issues and all these other things that, he just got in too much trouble. Then he went to the Dolphins, where he played for 2 games before he assaulted a woman in Florida, in a Florida nightclub, and he pleaded no contest to that. Anyone that remembers NFL Europe when that was a thing, he went there in 99, set records of, like over 1,000 yards and 14 touchdowns in the one season there. The Niners saw that, figured they sign him. And, mad injuries, inconsistent play once again, got him in trouble. Here's where he's mostly known. It sucks that this is what he's known for. He couldn't block anything. If the defense sent in a blitz, he was in trouble. He was not going to block it. That quarterback was going to die. And if you guys remember that play, Arizona Cardinals cornerback, Aeneas Williams, he came in and hit Steve Young so hard with a very hard, very clean, but very hard shot that basically Young got a concussion out of that and ended his career. That was a career-ending injury. Who missed the block on Williams? Phillips. The Niners later cut him, due to character issues. Again, character issues and not being able to stay out of trouble and just not being able to follow team rules and all that. After that, stints in the AFL. Then he went to the CFL. Ended up getting cut. The Canadians cut this guy, okay? Because he decided to go, he was charged with sexual assault in that one. So after that, he's actually, all those run-ins with the law, all the problems he had, all the charges, all the garbage he got himself into, the sexual assault conviction, he got convicted for that one. He had a felony weapons conviction after he ran 3 teenagers over after a dispute. I mean, he went to play pickup football and he ran these kids over. The guy destroyed his own life. You know what I mean? And then, of course, April of last year, they find his cellmate. It turns out he's a former cousin he's a cousin of former USC wide receiver R.J. Soward. His cousin Damien was found dead in their cell. And of course, he was the primary suspect. Soward apparently had been choked to death, and they charged Phillips with first-degree murder. And like I said, the prosecutor was looking for a death penalty, and, a little bit later, waiting for the trial, Phillips was found dead in his cell. And it sucks to see an athlete go through all that money, all that money, all the possibilities that he had, and he just couldn't keep it together long enough to make a good life out of it. So the Cincinnati Bengals finally, everyone's talking about Marvin Williams, right? Marvin Williams is going to get fired, and all that sort of stuff. First of all, he's not going to get fired. At this point, who's they going to pick up? Chip Kelly? You know what I mean? Is Chip Kelly going to be able to handle all those guys in Cincinnati? Here's the thing about Marvin Lewis, though. His assistants get hired everywhere. And his offensive coordinator, Hugh Jackson, just got hired to be Cleveland Browns head coach. And usually I make fun of Cleveland for their hires because I see whoever they hire and I go, yep, 1 year he's going to be gone. That's the thing about Cleveland. Cleveland is never a good... Look, established head coaches will never go to Cleveland because Cleveland does not give them a chance to win and improve. You need time to make a winner in football. It doesn't happen overnight. But this is a great hire by Cleveland because from what I heard, they have actually given him a final say on personnel moves. And rumor is that Jackson has already said that he's not going to put up with Manziel's antics. So Cleveland gets a good head coach in, and they're going to get rid of a problem. Apparently, the words they used for Jackson saying, for Jackson coming in, but one of his conditions being that Manziel's gone, was no problem. So the Browns get rid of a problem, and Manziel gets to go to Dallas. That's I guess it's win-win for everybody except for the Browns, who I'm sure we're going to have to pay him something. So onto what Mike was talking about, the Chandler Jones story. This is ridiculous. So Chandler Jones, late last night was reported that he overdosed. Today, Chandler Jones comes out and says that he had a quote-unquote bad reaction to synthetic marijuana. Now, last night, a lot of reports were saying, and I say reports kind of mockingly, because those reports were mostly, they were actually, at the end, they were mostly all pulled off the internet. They deleted them. So the Boston Globe, Chris Gasper writes for the Boston Globe, and he cited a source that said that John Jones. By the way, Chandler Jones is brother of John Jones. This is why the story's even bigger than it is, than it would have been if it was just him by himself. But Chandler Jones did not overdose on a drug like cocaine, heroin, or painkillers, as some speculated, but instead Jones supposedly had a quote-unquote bad reaction to a substance he put in his body. The word is that it's synthetic marijuana. First of all, you got all that money, just get the real thing. Second, I mean, from what I remember, is that the NFL does not test for recreational substances during the season, but they do test in the offseason. Because what you do on your time off, matters to them. It's a stupid. First of all, the marijuana is even banned by anybody. It's just dumb. That it's illegal, it's even dumber. But I always talk about that, so we'll skip that little rant. But supposedly the NFL says they're looking into the incident. The Patriots acknowledge that he was in the hospital. Can you imagine how crazy it would be if it turns out John Jones was there with him? Like Dana White would be pulling out his nose hairs. Oh, it's going down in the chat right here. I'll give you guys a little bit of an overview of what's going on in the chat. So Jesse and Andrew are going back and forth. Jesse's saying, Andy, have you found a nice spread for me out to move near you? Of course, Andy's not here in the UK. And Jesse's saying, if Trump wins, I'm out for sure. And of course, Andy has to come out and say, if. Andy's convinced that Trump's going to win this election. I so badly hope he doesn't. Now, a lot of people are going to be like, oh, well, he tells the truth. He's not the same politician as everybody else. He doesn't sugarcoat and all this stuff. Yeah, but he's stupid. A lot of the things he says, like, you can believe it if you want to, but saying them is stupid. It really is stupid. And not presidential whatsoever. I'm waiting for the next dumb thing that he's going to say. I'm expecting it. It's coming. Sometime soon it's coming. And last night on the State of the Union address, President Obama made his last one. He went after Trump. And not only did Obama go after Trump, what's her name? The lady that did the response to the Republicans. She could barely open her mouth. It's like someone wired it shut to stop her from saying something really stupid. But she went after Trump too. So everyone realizes Trump is just bad for everybody. Not only just bad for the Republicans because he makes them look really dumb. I mean, think about it. Is what Trump is saying much different than what Sarah Palin was saying when she was running for vice president as John McCain's vice or second, whatever? It's not much different. The difference is Trump is richer. He's a bigger butthole than she is. Straight up. Andy, you're going to have to clear that up. Andy's saying he called for the release of the 10 sailors 5 hours after they were released. And I'm assuming you're talking about Trump. If Trump called for the release of the 10 sailors, first of all, Iran, sorry, I know I actually learned how to say it correctly. Iran had 10 Navy sailors, and they actually released them. And then Trump called for their release 5 hours afterwards. This guy's late to the party at every point. He needs to fire everybody in his campaign. You would think with that kind of money, the kind of money that guy has, is he'd be able to find the best political strategists and all that. Or maybe he tried to, and political strategists are like, yeah, I'm not going to take that money to destroy this country. Straight up. But of course, the line every day is, oh, this country's going to hell in a handbasket. So, I mean, maybe we can't stop it anyway. Maybe it's just a futile. By the way, I love the quote I just heard today from Rand Paul saying, Donald Trump is destroying our party. Man, look, newsflash, Rand. Republicans are destroying their own party. 100%. Republicans are destroying their own party. But let's not make this political. Gonna take a real quick break. Come back, talk about let's just talk about some college basketball. Some BS going on there. And then of course we'll get into the meat and potatoes of it. MMA. We'll talk about some MMA when we come back. Who's going to be fighting CM Punk next? Why in the hell BJ Penn wants to come back and fight? Conor McGregor is not the only one talking. His coach is now throwing out some things, some ideas, and UFC confirms some stuff about Vitor Belfort. So coming up after the break, be back in a couple minutes. This is Breaking the Law with Eddie Law on Spreaker app and Spreaker.com. So I love the suggestion from Jesse on chat here on Spreaker. Can we vote for Don to get the first fight with CM Punk? Says Jesse. Yes. Yeah, I said we vote for that. Start that Twitter campaign right now. At Don the MMA guy. I think that's what his Twitter is. Pretty sure that's what it is. At Don the MMA guy. Say tweet everybody, Dana, Frank, everybody, and say this is the guy who should fight CM Punk. And I put my money on Don. I think he'll shock the world. Back here on Breaking the Law with Eddie Law on Spreaker app and Spreaker.com. Hit me up on Twitter at ELAW31. That's ELAW31 on the chat in the Spreaker app or on the website. And of course, Skype 602-903-3906. Talking real quickly about college basketball because actually I want to talk about something that's a little more important. Actually, a lot more important for MMA fans, of course. But Missouri announced some NCAA violations today. It turns out they had a couple of donors do some illegal stuff according to the NCAA. So one of the donors actually provided, this is for I believe their basketball team. Yeah, it's one of their basketball teams. Their men's basketball team. So a donor provided impermissible benefits to 3 current student athletes and 1 prospective student athlete in 2013 and 2014, included compensation for work not performed. He gave these kids housing, transportation, iPads, food, the use of a local gym, and $520 in cash. First of all, how'd they find out that exactly $520 in cash was what was given to them? I really want to know what the investigation was like. That's ridiculous. Another one gave what they're calling impermissible benefits to 11 student athletes and 3 family members of one of those athletes for about 3 years, from 2011 to 14. They gave them discounts and free boat rides. So reduced rates at hotels, meals, and boat rides. And then supposedly the student athletes provided impermissible transportation by a team manager. That's stupid. And then, of course, Missouri has to get charged with failure to monitor the internship program for which the student athletes were improperly compensated. Stupid again. And then one of the some former associate head coach, which of course you can go down the list and find out who it is, assisted in the relocation of a student athlete. The relocation was paid for by the student athlete's family, but helping them move is impermissible. So, a former assistant head coach helped the student move, but apparently that's not allowed. Does this sound stupid to anybody else? So it's dumb. It's so stupid. So now this is how Missouri is going to do it. By the way, this is self-inflicted NCAA sanctions. Okay. Instead of letting the NCAA come out and drop the hammer on them, they drop the hammer on themselves. The first donor who provided the iPads, the meals, and the $520 in cash permanently disassociated from the program. They can never help out again. The second donor is disassociated for 2 years. Basically, they're banned for 2 years. All of the wins from the 2013-2014 season, which actually was a pretty decent season for Missouri, vacated. That was 23 wins. Missouri's going to pay the NCAA a fine of $5,000. Ooh, who cares? And of course, they forfeit 2 scholarships, which really does suck. Oh, and the worst part, of course, for the kids that are there, a postseason ban for this year, which means no SEC tournament for them and no NCAA tournament, which is every college kid's goal. Wow, they're taking this relocation thing serious. Wow, okay. I guess we're going to hear Jesse from the UK later on, sometime soon. And let's get to what you guys actually want to hear, the MMA stuff of the hour. So I'm going to get to this stuff that I actually just right now saw on Twitter. It actually started off earlier today. I didn't hear about it till right now. MMA in New York's a hot topic. Everybody wants to see MMA in New York. Personally, I don't care. I'm in Arizona. I'm not flying to New York unless it's for a huge event. And even then, New York's expensive. Can you imagine the tickets are going to be expensive? Just to go there is expensive. Just to stay there is expensive. I don't care. But New York Governor, what's his name? Andrew Cuomo, whatever his name is including MMA in his budget proposal. Now, this is the first time that any governor has included. Actually, no, it's not any governor, but the first time this governor included MMA revenue in his budget proposal for New York State. Now, it doesn't guarantee that it's going to legalize it, but it's a pretty big step just put MMA in anything legal whatsoever when it comes to New York, right? So, of course, Lorenzo Fertitta, UFC chairman, released a statement talking about the governor legalizing MMA in the executive budget, saying, quote, "On behalf of the UFC and on behalf of all MMA fans in New York, thank you, Governor Cuomo. We are very pleased that as part of his budget proposal, the governor has called for legalizing professional MMA in New York, the only state in America where it is illegal, and has asked the state athletic commission to regulate both professional and amateur MMA. It's the right thing to do for fans, and more importantly, it's the right thing to do to help protect the health and safety of athletes." Side note, like they really care. They probably do care a little bit for the big stars that are making money. You know what I mean? But where's TJ Grant? You know what I mean? Working in a mine. Anyway. So this has excited UFC for sure. Dollar bills everywhere. They're definitely hoping. So under his budget, this is according to @LaMonica Mark on Twitter. I believe he is the sports editor for Newsday Sports. He says, under Cuomo's budget proposal, a combat sports promoter will pay anywhere from $500 to $3,000 for a New York license based on the size of the venue, which is not even chump change. It's like, it's money the UFC loses probably every second. They don't really care. Refs and judges will pay no more than $100 for a license in New York. Fighters would pay no more than $50 for a license, which I don't even know how much they pay now for in other states. The proposal will give New York Athletic Commission the right to honor other state commissions, license suspensions, and revocations, and other things, which sucks because the Nevada State Athletic Commission is stupid, and they've done some ridiculous things. And if New York has to, honor those things, it's kind of ridiculous. But they have the right to honor it; they don't have to. So hopefully, they do what New Yorkers usually do: think they're better than everybody else, and decide they're just going to do whatever they want. So another part on the Cuomo proposal, fighters and managers can protest assignment of a judge, but it must be timely, which actually happens everywhere. Brock Lesnar said he didn't want Mazzagatti in reffing his fight, any of his fights. Jesse says, Eddie, MMA talk is old. Let's talk politics or the weather, huh? Yeah, all right. The troll hat is on. I hear you. Anyway, this is what the interesting part of it. This is the part that I like probably the most. MMA judges in New York would have to pass an eye exam every year and file financial disclosure forms for conflict of interest purposes. That is amazing. Make it happen. In fact, not just there, everywhere. I wonder if they did that in every state, if that would cause bad decisions to at least lower, right? Be less of those crappy decisions, bad ones. Here's the one that's going to mess things up for everybody. And check this out, okay? Because I think this might be a little... This is being overlooked, I think, a little bit. But for MMA in New York, it says fighters must pass, quote, comprehensive physical examination, including clinical neurological examinations, end quote, for a license. That might be a problem for quite a few fighters if you think about it. So what we get, MMA in New York... I don't know. This is just a budget proposal with the end goal being legalizing mixed martial arts in New York. Again, I make no bones about it. I don't care. It'd be nice, I guess, because it's the only state in the entire country that makes it legal to have an MMA event. But this is just a step closer to having professional and amateur MMA. And as fans, we can all hope it actually happens. But it won't be for any. It won't be in time for any John Jones, Daniel Cormier fight. So DC will be happy to know he's not going to lose the belt in New York. Can you imagine if DC can actually beat John Jones? That'd be incredible. By the way, real quick, now that I'm thinking about it, because actually people are tweeting out about the lottery today. And I was talking about it on Twitter with Mike and Code and a few other guys. Winning the lottery might be one of the most terrifying things ever. I wouldn't even be afraid of scared of strangers. I'd be afraid of family members just coming out of nowhere. You know what I mean? And then the worst part, look, the horror stories you hear of people that won the lottery is crazy. I mean, look. What was that guy's name? I wrote it down. I can't find it. Jack Whitaker, a West Virginia native. He won like $315 million. He was 55. And that dude just got hit by everything. He took the all cash option, got $170 million, pretty much cash. He was driving around with $500,000 in his car. He got jacked twice. Andy going back onto the neurological exams for fighters in New York, saying brain scans are fine, but depends on who has to pay for them. I think the UFC should have to. If the fighters have to pay for it, then that's bad, because those things are going to be expensive for sure. So here on this whole lottery thing, I mean, look at the sad, tragic stories. Billy Bob Harrell, $31 million in 97 in Texas, committed suicide in the wake of incessant requests for money from friends and family. He said, before he died, of course, he said, quote, "Winning the lottery is the worst thing that ever happened to me." Evelyn Adams, $5.4 million. She won 2 times, 85 and 86. How lucky/unlucky can you get? She was living in a trailer. She gave away most of her money and gambled the rest of it. Suzanne Mullins, $4.2 million in Virginia in 93. As of 2004, she's got nothing. Shafiq Talmadge, $6.7 million in Arizona in 88. As in 2005, declared bankruptcy. You guys see the problem here? When they say easy come, easy go? Easy come, easy go. It's just going to ruin your life. So, I'm more terrified of winning it than I am of anything else. That'd be some scary, crazy stuff. So the UFC today confirmed that Vitor Belfort turned down a fight with Anderson Silva. Now if you remember, Anderson Silva was able to knock Vitor Belfort out with that front kick that Steven Seagal said beat him. Or Steven Seagal said he taught him. So the UFC was talking about UFC 196 being in Rio, to the HBC Arena, which is actually kind of small. So they were talking about making the rematch between Silva and Belfort as the main event. But they couldn't get a deal done with Belfort. Anderson accepted the fight right away, but Vitor wanted to see what would happen between Weidman and Rockhold at UFC 194, which of course Rockhold won. And Rockhold ended up calling him out, which apparently is a good sign for him. A lot of people are just like, "Oh, Vitor's a wuss. He's off the juice." And I'm like, first of all, dude, let them both juice. Neither one's gonna fight for a title. Look, you can say, Rocco can go off saying, "No, I want to fight Vitor again." The point is, he's a champion. They're not gonna make that fight. Highly doubt they're gonna make that fight. They don't want to pay, Vitor Belfort to get just massacred again. Weidman destroyed him. Now everyone's like, "Oh, well, Vitor had a chance in the first. He hurt Chris Weidman." Yeah, and then what happened? Still got beat badly. So Giovanni Decker, who's the UFC senior vice president, said, quote, "Many people said Vitor didn't want this fight, and that wasn't the truth. He wants it. He made it clear it will happen at some time. But for him, thinking about his career and what is ahead of him at this moment, the fight wouldn't make sense. We're running out of time, and the UFC needed to announce UFC 186 main event in Vegas. That's why the fight between Verdun and Velasquez ended up there." So, think about it. Is that the problem there? Is that the reason why Kane got the rematch? Who knows? Andrew in the chat saying, "If I won $1.5 billion, I would buy an island. No one would find me. You wouldn't see me here for a long time." Jesse says, "Have a plan, have a financial institution invest money, and give your stipend every month, and they pay all your bills." That would be perfect. Form an LLC and have it claim the money so your name is not out there. That is smart. The problem, and look, let's go over the cities where this came from. Now, I'm not saying that this isn't a stereotype, but I am saying that a lot of these stereotypes, kind of live up. Billy Bob Harrell from Texas in 97. Evelyn Adams, living in a trailer. Doesn't say where she was living. Suzanne Mullins, Virginia. In 1988, Shafiq Talmadge in Arizona in 88. Think about that. Thomas Strong in Texas. Victoria Zell in Minnesota. You see where I'm going here? Karen Cohen, Illinois. Jeffrey Dampier, Illinois. Ed Gilden, Texas. Now, the weird thing about this guy, as of 2003, first of all, this guy died in 2003, apparently. His wife sat up with his debts. As of 2005, the wife was sued by her own daughter, claiming that she was taking money from a trust fund and squandering cash in Las Vegas. These aren't the smartest people. Willie Hurt, Michigan. This is a fun one. Michael Klingable, I don't even care about his last name. He won $2 million, but as of 1998, he was sued by his own mother, claiming he failed to share the jackpot with her. You can sue. You can sue for your own family member. I mean, you can sue anybody for not sharing. I say we all start suing Trump right now. Everyone start suing Trump for not sharing. Jenny Lee, Missouri. You know what she's got left of the $18,700 in assets. It's the point. It's scary. It's insanity. Mike says, you're hired, Jesse. Seems like you got it all figured out. Jesse should just be an attorney at this point. So, of course, the world of the UFC is talking about a million different things, but here's one that bothers me. BJ Penn wants to fight Nick Lentz at UFC 197. He called him out, took a picture with Greg Jackson at, of course, at Jackson's Academy, and I'm so hoping this is not going to happen. Now, BJ Penn, Nick Lentz called him out for about, what was it? It was Wednesday. Sorry. On an Instagram post, BJ Penn called out Nick Lentz for fighting at UFC 197 in Vegas. He says, quote, this is a formal challenge for Nick Lentz to meet me in the Octagon March 5th in Las Vegas. Nick, you wrote a silly poem about me making fun of me. You said stuff about me and my parents. You've been making a hashtag bring Penn back hashtag. I ask you today to be a man and back up everything you said. Talk the talk, walk the walk. Uncle BJ is mad already, end quote. Please don't let this happen. Anybody, do not let this happen. Remember last time we saw BJ Penn? Third round TKO loss to Frankie Edgar. I don't think anyone turned their TVs off or left that arena without a tear in their eye. That was the saddest thing I've seen in my life. Watching BJ Penn get massacred by Frankie Edgar, his corner wanting to stop it. I'm assuming they were trying to stop it. If they didn't, first of all, their corner should be banned for not forcing the fight to be stopped. Now, mind you have to get the doctor to stop it, but it could have gotten it stopped. And Nick Lentz is talking garbage too. I don't know why Nick Lentz is even yapping. He was coming off a split decision win over Danny Castillo. A split decision win over Danny Castillo, and you want to call out BJ Penn? Shut up. I have zero respect for Nick Lentz. And I know a lot of people were talking about his haircut. McGregor wannabe haircut. Almost trying to look like he looked like a Fred Kirby / Conor McGregor / Conor McGregor hybrid evil looking thing. And I'm not saying that, of course, Mr. Kirby is evil because he's not. He's actually one of the nicest people ever. But, that it was funny to see people just crap on his haircut. So BJ Penn wants to fight, and Greg Jackson's, training him. Now, of course, no fight has been announced. I just don't see Dana White saying, yeah, let's go ahead and do it, man. Your last fight was just awesome. Let's go ahead and set that fight up. No, do not do that. Don't. There's no way. If they make that happen, they're no better than Bellator putting together, Ken Shamrock and Hoist Gracie. They're really no better. It's a circus. They're no better than Ryzen. That's how bad this is. This is awful. Don't do this. This is awful. Mike on the chat saying Jackson should be embarrassed to even consider helping him. I don't know. I mean, I guess when a legend comes to you for help, maybe that's one thing. Maybe this is just a way for BJ Penn to stay relevant. Maybe he's going to come out with some kind of BJ Penn workout kit or workout DVD, and he's just going to make some money off of it. Maybe BJ Penn needs money. And he wants to get on UFC 197 specifically because McGregor's going to get everyone on that card rich. Maybe that's the idea. I just hope that doesn't happen. I do not want to see one of my favorite fighters of all time take another beating. And even more, take a beating from a guy like Nick Lentz. That would be the most depressing thing ever. That'd be awful. Please don't let that happen. Dana White, don't let that happen, please. It's awful. So you got to think about when people win things, when they get free things, like winning the lottery, you get free giant amount of money. Where your mind is at and how you were raised is for sure going to mess with that, right? Like I said, I read those names. I read where they're from. So what are some ideas? Now, Jesse already threw some out there. You know what I mean? About having a plan beforehand. making an LLC to claim the money so your name's not out there, which is absolutely smart. Here's some ideas that I found online that I actually would lean towards doing. For example, here's one: immediately retain an attorney from a large national firm. No small, tiny, little garbage, little local attorney. Get somebody that's a national firm that has dealt with stuff like this again. Now here's another one. So decide to take the lump sum. Why not? From $1.5 billion, you're gonna get a ton of money, a whole lot of money. Here's another one. Decide right now how much you plan to give your friends and family. This really shouldn't be more than 20% of the winnings or so. Figure it out right now. Pick your number. Tell your lawyer that's it. Don't change it ever. Do not consult with your family when deciding how much to give the family. Obviously, you got to say no to a lot of people. Honestly, you got to find out who your real friends are. Do not give anyone cash ever. Just don't do it. Do not buy them houses. Don't buy them cars. And a lot of those ideas actually go towards what Jesse was saying as well. And here's another one. Leave. Leave for a month. Don't come back for a month. Wait till this whole thing blows over. That's 100% what I'd be doing. I'd be gone. I'd still be doing shows, but I'd be gone. That way you couldn't tell that I want anything. By the way, here's a weird thing. Have you guys seen that whole thing that happened on Meta Morris's Instagram? His name AJ. I forgot his last name, but they gave basically power of the Instagram and the Twitter to one of their athletes, and he went off about how Meta Morris didn't pay him. That'll teach Meta Morris to do stuff. But first of all, why Meta Morris doesn't pay those guys is incredible. EBI is about to do an event in Mexico where the winner gets $50,000. And Meta Morris can't pay their athletes. It's just why Meta Morris is even around. If you look, MMA fans, if you want a reason to boycott anything, boycott Meta Morris. Jiu-Jitsu fans, if you want a reason to boycott anything, boycott Meta Morris for not paying their athletes. Some haven't been paid since forever from their performers that still haven't been paid, just giving the runaround. I don't know what Halleck Gracie's doing or where that money's going, but there needs to be an investigation of some sort towards this. It really does. Once again, EBI. That's the future of jiu-jitsu, of jiu-jitsu competitions. EBI. $50,000 for the winner, and it makes every match more exciting because you got to finish. Definitely looking forward to every EBI, especially to keep it up like that. And Meta Morris, shame on you. Halleck Gracie, shame on you. So we get an idea of who CM Punk might be fighting. So now we know about this guy Mike Gall, who Dana White found on his YouTube show that looking for a fight. It turns out he's going to fight on the prelims of UFC 196, and if he wins, he gets CM Punk. So now we know who CM Punk might get. Gall's going to fight a guy by the name of, and I'm not kidding, his name is Michael Jackson. No relation, I'm assuming, but this is going to be his professional debut in the UFC, by the way, in the prelims, but it's going to be his UFC debut. From what I've found online, he went 5-6 in amateur level competition. So more than likely, Gall's going to be fighting CM Punk, likely at UFC 200. So we're probably going to get what everyone wants, which is, Gall versus CM Punk, all the call-outs, whatever. Now, what I'm saying is this. If Michael Jackson, jeez, I can't get over that. If Michael Jackson moonwalks all over Mike Gall, does he get to fight CM Punk? Because I think that should happen. Because to me, I don't know what they're trying to do. But for the last little spot here on the show before we shut it down for the day, Conor McGregor talks a lot. We've seen, first of all, he came out with just right away hammering RDA. Rafael dos Anjos, who he's going to fight March 5th at UFC 197 for the lightweight belt. calling him a traitor and saying that he's gonna behead him for all of La Brasilia. Genius. The guy his talk, he finds ways that we just never heard before. Now, we heard that before. I'm gonna behead everybody and everything, but calling RDA the gringo and all that was pretty funny to me. Now, Conor McGregor isn't the only one talking. His coach John Kavanagh's talking too. He's talking about, well, okay, this is what they were saying. He's hinting towards McGregor seeking a third UFC title in the future. He's saying that McGregor could win at welterweight. McGregor at welterweight. McGregor fighting guys like Robbie Lawler, Carlos Condit, Nick Diaz. I don't know about that. RDA is going to be big enough. Kavanaugh is talking and putting more and more pressure on McGregor. He really is. That's not going to help him. But here's what he says right here. He says this on the 42, which is the website. He says, quote, maybe the pursuit of belts won't stop there either. He's talking about the RDA fight. Maybe the pursuit of belts won't stop there either. I've said from the beginning that welterweight may not be out of the question. One of Conor's main sparring partners is Gunnar Nelson. He's a welterweight, so Conor is very used to that feel. I will not be at all surprised if we're preparing to go for a third belt a year from now. Now, we don't even know who's going to be able to make it to, or be able to fight for a third belt. He's got to win the second one first. But he continues, he continues to talk about how, the cut from McGregor is hard to 145. Now the 155 is going to be better. And Kavanaugh touches on that, saying, quote, Conor has been cutting down to 145 since he was 16. He's now 27, so it'll be nice to take a break from that weight cut. We've done it plenty of times before, and we'll do it again. Funnily enough, the last weight cut for the Jose Aldo fight was probably the best one yet, thanks to the help of George Lockhart, who was on board again for this fight. And he's talking about RDA again. He's part of the team now. You've seen Conor on salads, now watch what he's like on steak. It just allows us to focus even more on training and less on cutting weight. I think people will be surprised too when they see him standing beside these guys and realize that even at lightweight, Conor is a pretty big guy, end quote. So, Conor going for a third belt. This might become a circus as well. Mike saying, no chance, I'm with you. Jesse saying, I like McNugget better as a name. And Andrew saying, Potato Goblin versus Diaz, yes please. I would love to see Conor McGregor versus Nick Diaz. Because I think Nick Diaz would tune him. Diaz would dunk McNugget in a bloody sauce, as Mike Charles. I'm with you, man. I think Nick Diaz would tune him up so bad. Now, I've been betting against Conor pretty much every fight. So on this RDA fight, I'm kind of in the middle. I'm not 100% sure yet. It kind of all depends. Jesse says RDA kills McNugget under 2 minutes. He could, too. He definitely could. The way that RDA has been fighting, it could be, the end of McGregor's, crap talk or garbage trash talk at 155 especially. But I would love to see him fight Nick Diaz. Oh, man, Nick Diaz would just tune him up. He'd just pitter-patter him for 4 rounds. And the 5th round, just drop body shots like no other. The other thing that Kavanaugh talked about was the possibility of fighting Frankie Edgar at UFC 200. Mind you, UFC 187 is in March. UFC 200 is in July. Depending on how he comes out of the RDA fight, Conor might not be ready for the UFC 200 card. Which honestly would be the money. That would be the money of money cards for McGregor. McGregor would he would kill how much money he would make in that card. So Kavanaugh is still talking on the 42, and apparently he wrote the article. So it's the42.ie, which is Ireland. He says, the elephant in the room in the situation, of course, has been Frankie Edgar. If Conor's next fight was announced as being against Frankie, there would be a lot of complaints about him cutting too much weight and being too big for the rest of the 145-pound guys. People also claim that he was running from Rafael dos Anjos. I don't agree with that. I don't think anyone would complain. I think everyone would be pretty excited, but they'd be saying Frankie's going to win. Now, as far as being too big for featherweight, yeah, he's big. He might be a little too big, but that's on him. Diminishing returns is a real thing. When you cut too much weight, diminishing returns is a real thing. Now, Jesse's saying, UFC 200, who's on that card since most champs will defend before then? No clue. I'm assuming they're going to make it super fights of some sort. Maybe the return of GSP. Nick Diaz is not going to make that card because his suspension, reduced to 18 months now, doesn't end or doesn't make it available until August 1st. So then Kavanaugh continues. Instead, they'll say he's staying at featherweight and that he's afraid of Frankie. But as I've said many times, it's great that questions are being asked because answering them is what sport is all about. The day there are no more questions being asked of you is the day you're no longer relevant. No matter who Conor's next opponent was going to be, people will complain. There's no getting away from that. There are boxes to be ticked, and by the time Conor retires, he'll have addressed them all. But they can't all be done at the drop of a hat. We can only take it one at a time. Rafael Dos Anjos is next. After that, maybe Frankie Edgar will get his chance at UFC 200 on July 9th. We'll see. And again, talking about the whole third belt, I just no. I firmly believe Kavanaugh could be getting Conor McGregor in a little bit of trouble here. And putting more and more pressure on that guy. Conor McGregor's got plenty of pressure. He's handling it well so far. But just how much more pressure can he take? We saw what happened to Ronda Rousey. Mind you, Conor McGregor is much more talented than Ronda. And he's fighting higher caliber fighters, of course. Especially now with RDA. By the way, this fight's going to be the hardest fight he's ever had, for sure. There's no way it's not. This is going to be the hardest fight of Conor McGregor's career. It's just, there's no other way to put it. And we can see Conor fall. RDA is a beast. I have mad respect for RDA for what he did to Pettis. I have even more respect for him, for what he did to Cowboy. A lot of people saying, "Oh well, Cowboy didn't. Cowboy's slow starter. You should have started faster." Yeah, okay, you still could have won. Mike saying, if Miesha Tate beats Holly Holm at UFC 187, if she wins, they make her defend the belt against Pena. That's Juliana Pena. You know what, man? I don't think so. She's getting herself into too much trouble. I don't think they want to be like, oh yeah, you got arrested for kicking dudes in the balls, drunken in Spokane. Here's your reward. That's not happening. Andrew Reed immediately goes, Tate won't win. Mike saying, not that she's going to win. No, you know what? I think it's going to be a real tough fight I think it's a tougher fight for Tate than it is for Holm. But of course, a lot of the Tate fans out there, Tate fanatics, Tate psychos, honestly, are not going to agree with that whatsoever. Jesse pointing out, look at Anthony Johnson. He went from 170 to 250. Yeah, but Anthony Johnson's game is power. It's just blitzing people. Conor, not so much. Conor's a counterpuncher. Conor expects you to come to him or waits for you to make the wrong move and then drops you. Look at Jose Aldo. So I don't know if he'll have any kind of Anthony Johnson-esque rise or whatever, explosion of career. But, I guess it could happen. So they haven't announced a jackpot yet. I don't even know what time they announced the jackpot or the Powerball, the winning numbers. But the estimated jackpot is $1.5 billion. $930 million cash value. Apparently there was 5 winners for $1 million in a bunch of states, including Arizona, California, Connecticut, and all that. I'm not even going to read that stuff. Mike saying, look what Kessie did to Tate. Jackson already has a game plan for Tate. Oh, for sure. For sure. Mind you, Tate did improve. And she improved quite a bit. But as we saw, Holly Holm is a different ball game. A lot of people disrespected her. And she didn't care. And by the way, Holm, have you ever met a more likable champion than Holly Holm? Just really nice. Makes a point of not letting this thing, being a champion get to her head. Just wants to go back and train. Wants to hang out with her family and her husband and all that. And just wants to train and have fun with her teammates. I mean, come on. Is there any more likable champ out there? I mean, you can make a case for Joanna, for sure. Andrew saying, in the UK, we'll get the entire $1.5 billion in one lump sum, tax-free. Whatever, dude. You should buy your ticket then. Pretty sure you can buy tickets online. I'm pretty sure you can do that, actually. I don't know how, but it does happen. All right, so I guess I'm going to be waiting to hear the numbers. I'm not going to lie, I did buy a ticket. Just in case. But what's funny? I was in line after work, and I was heading home. and there was people in front of me spending $100. Like, let me get $100, then, or let me get $100 on Powerball. And I'm sitting there with my $2 going, I just need one. Only one number's gonna win anyway for like the jackpot. Or I mean, you only need one number to win the jackpot. So I'm not spending $50. I'm not spending $100. No way. Of course, you get all those offices that put together, thousands of dollars, thinking that more chances to win. And if you lose, then what? You know what I mean? You're the idiot that spent $1,000 on tickets. All right, shout out to everyone that tuned in tonight. Really appreciate it. Mike, Jesse, Andrew, Nick. See, maybe one of you guys gets to win the jackpot. If you do, hey, hook me up. Just kidding. It's all good. So the winner, good for you. At least somebody gets that money, I guess. I just hope it's not some super rich CEO guy. Oh, geez, Jesse, come on. Well, Holly Holm likes in the privacy of her bedroom is for her. But they are real close to say that much. Anyway, thanks to everyone that tuned in. Again, appreciate you. Catch you guys in the next one. Remember, ELAW31 on Twitter. That's ELAW31 on Twitter. Follow me on Spreaker. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Have a good night. See ya.